We back. I'm not even gonna play no music this time. I'll just wait on y'all to come up in the room. Hey, Lily Gal. Hey, Rachel. I see y'all in the building. Yes, we must resume this mission. We got to get as far as we can, make up for lost time. In the other case, hey, Delois. Much love. All right, let's just jump right back into it. This shit had me on edge, and he up here for a minute, as you can see. Well, maybe this is a different dude, but
from our police officers.
Yes.
Your body-worn camera, I believe, puts you at the scene at 22, or pardon me, it puts the start of your video recorder at 22:02:06, 10:02:06. So you made it to the apartment complex rather quickly, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't live at that apartment complex, do you?
No, sir.
Have you ever lived at that apartment complex?
No, sir.
Okay. You were able to make it, having never lived there, from entrance to that door in just a matter of a couple of minutes, your first time navigating through, is that right?
Wasn't my first time there.
Okay, you've been there before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that help you get there somewhat quicker?
Yes, sir.
And that's entirely the point that I'm kind of stumbling to make. Someone who is not there, for example, any of the officers who are arriving who haven't ever lived there, or the firemen who are arriving who haven't lived there, that's going to take them more time than somebody that has lived there for months, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You lived there for months, you would know how to navigate your apartment complex, presumably.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to object to leading.
It's the same.
I'll ask it like this. What would be the difference between a person who walks into an apartment complex for the very first time, looking for an apartment, versus someone who's gone to that apartment hundreds of times?
Not knowing how to directly get there.
And who would know how to get there?
Someone who lived there.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Officer Lee, I'm going to show you it's marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 295, 296, 297, 298, 299, 300, 301, 302, and 303. These are going to be still photographs or still images from the body-worn camera that we just played for the jury, except that they have been lightened to show the couch, the seams on the couch. Would you look at those and tell me if they are fair and accurate depictions, except for being lightened from the actual record?
sure, you sure can. Salute, Lily Gal. Still haven't found your glasses, huh? That sucks. And I know the glasses are hard to replace. But yes, you guys can type in all caps so that she can see if you guys would like to. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
And I've shown you these before, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So for purposes not to depict lighting, because I have lightened these, do these show at least the crease on the couch and the proximity of what appears to be a bowl of food to the couch in State's Exhibit number 296?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just, I don't suppose probably there would be any reason at all why you would remember this, but do you remember what was in that bowl that was next to his couch?
No, sir.
Okay. But do you see that it was there?
Yes, sir.
I'll offer States 295 to 303.
I don't know why I love typing in all caps or whatever. I do. I don't know. It's weird. It just looks right. Damn, cameraman, what's going on?
Judge, I'm going to object in that these photos have been altered by being lightened, and they don't fairly and accurately depict what was on the body camera. They've been altered, and we don't know how they were altered or what the lighting was added, and therefore it's not a proper predicate, and it's not relevant, and it's subject to being misleading and confusing, and also
He can't even figure out what he really want to say. He like he trying to throw everything in there. Like, stop.
it's more prejudicial than more program.
Maybe if the fucking city of Dallas got some body cameras that weren't in 480p, like, who the fuck does that? Like, like I said, most webcams come in 1080. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, bro? I got two 1080 webcams. Like, the shit ain't expensive. These people need to stop playing.
Mr. Herman, what was the basis or the reason why those photos were lightened?
Judge, I was very, very clear with the court and with the jury, these are not being offered to establish the lighting conditions because they have been lightened. They have been brightened. The purpose is to show certain images within those screenshots, like the seam of the couch, so that you can see where the bowl of food is lined up with the crease of the couch, so you know what seat it's in front of and what seat it's not. It's not to depict the lighting conditions, but rather the approximate locations of the various items within the apartment at the time that Officer Lee went in, because after Officer Lee and the fellow officers arrive, and there's a number of them in there, items get moved because they're trying to give life-saving assistance. You can see some of the movement of items. These will depict the location of certain things as best they existed at the time they entered.
So the purpose of those photographs is to show the location of various items within the apartment prior to the movement of the furniture or whatever item is depicted.
Yes, ma'am. And by lightening them, for example, one of the things that it does on the couch, it will allow for the fact finder to see where the individual cushions are.
And those photographs were taken from the video that we just viewed.
Yes, ma'am.
And Judge, I would just say that information can be gleaned from just straight still shots from the video without having the lighting. It alters, and I don't know what lighting was added, or I can't cross-examine whoever lightened these and to what effect.
I believe you just stated that lighting was not the issue. It's the placement and location.
Oh, if you talking about why we started a new stream, Kelly, cause they be on bullshit. Oh, they knocked y'all out again? They damn did. Wow. They need to quit playing. So now they interrupting our stream and they'll knock out viewers as they're watching. This shit is crazy as hell. That's how last live stream started. It just started knocking people out and logging people out, so you had to log in and then go through a lot of shit to get back. The shit is crazy. Y'all see me? Y'all hear me, right? Let me check this. Shit is crazy. Okay, yeah, I heard myself. Shit is nuts, though. Like, damn, YouTube, leave my damn streams alone. Let me do what I gotta do, bro. Again, they ain't fucking with motherfuckers over here just fucking around playing and shit and bullying each other and talking about stupid shit. They bullying me. Like, that's crazy.
So the court will allow the admission of exhibits 295 through 303.
And just for the record, Judge, my objections under improper predicate and 401 and 403 are those overruled.
Yes, they are.
Commission of Public States Exhibit 296.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Officer Lee, by lightening up the photograph, again, just to make it abundantly clear, this photograph does not represent the lighting as it existed that you saw, correct, when you were inside the apartment?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
But for the purposes of showing where the seams are in the couch, here and over here, this bowl, whatever it is, since you don't recall what it contained, the original location, as best as it was when you guys entered, is that place, that bowl of ice cream, right around the middle section of that couch?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to republish State's Exhibit number 6.
Does she have some? Does she have one? I donate something. What's up? Lily, you gotta get a GoFundMe or something so we can hook you up. We can't have you running around here and can't see and shit. That's not a good look.
And this time I'm going to pause it at certain times so that we can discuss things, all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, me too, but Lily Gal lives in another country and shit. I forgot. It's Scotland, right? I forgot which one. I always just be like the UK, but the UK is big as hell. Oh, you ordered them? They come in Friday? Oh, okay. You got one more day then, because it's Thursday today, right? Okay. Well, we was concerned, girl. We was concerned. We was going to get you smooth together. For real. Know that.
Your Honor, for purposes of the record, I'm going to begin publication in about 2 minutes and 7 seconds into State's Exhibit number 6.
I wear contacts. Wow. I wear contacts. You know, I got a little bit of issue or whatever in really one of my eyes or whatever, but the other one is just really low. Like it's just a little bit off. Yeah, okay, Scotland. And I don't like glasses, especially because I live in Minnesota, and then the motherfucking, when it gets cold out, then your glasses fog up and shit. But I go to Walmart to get my contacts and all that shit. But I know how it is to not have, you know, glasses or be able to see and shit. That shit sucks. And it kind of hurts because me, I squint if I don't have, like, you know, my stuff or whatever. Now I just buy, like, months and months on deck, so I never run out. But with glasses, normally you don't have a backup pair. But I'm glad that you'll be straight. Hey, Ray Sanders, I'm sorry for anybody that got booted out. YouTube's hating now. So not only are they cutting off our live streams at about 4 hours, they're also, when we come back to get back in, they're like, oh, no, fuck that. We said you was done for real. So they're trying to just clear out my chat room. I do apologize for any of these inconveniences. Obviously, I don't run Google or YouTube, but the shit is crazy. But I do apologize, you guys. And thank you for coming back. Welcome back. Bro, this is what their body cameras look like walking through the hallways. Are you serious, bro? And this is what taxpayers pay. I almost want to look up in Texas or Dallas, like how much the body camera total came up to, because this is not, they didn't spend the money wisely. That's what I'm saying. Right, dark as hell. Fuck you gonna be able to see in this shit. And there's lights in the hallway and it's still dark.
All right. Stopping publication. My goodness, they can't make that any smaller. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Are you trained to make use of light? If light is to your advantage to use so that you can identify something, are you trained to use flashlight or available lighting so that you can see what you're encountering?
Yes, sir.
All right. What does Officer Blair utilize as soon as he makes entry into the complex from the stairs here?
His weapon-mounted light.
Okay. So that he can illuminate whatever he's going to be encountering?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Officer Blair just apparently turned that light off. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That presumably he realizes he doesn't need it. I'm going to back up just a little bit. You see Officer Blair looking at something.
Yes, sir.
What are y'all looking at as you're going into the apartment complex there?
Apartment numbers.
Okay, so were you able to establish where the apartment numbers are located, and then from there try and find number 78, which is what y'all are looking for.
Yes, sir.
Right there, Officer Blair had his firearm in the low-ready position, is that right?
Sewell, yes, sir.
Okay, and then what did he do as soon as he turned that corner and he encountered an individual?
He remained at Sewell.
Okay. And did he raise it and position it towards the person that was on the other end?
After he cleared the corner, he lowered it, yes, sir.
Okay. Exactly, because he gave an opportunity to perceive what it is he was looking at.
Object to leading speculation.
Let me ask this, did Officer Blair fire the second he saw somebody?
No, sir.
Okay. I've stopped publication at 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Are all of the lights in the hallway working?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are there a number of lights in the hallway that are on right now?
Yes, sir.
And although it's blurry, can you see a red floor mat outside apartment 1478?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've stopped publication at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. What is the condition of the ironing board at the time that you guys make entry?
It's upright.
Okay, and does it appear to be cantered out into the living room area?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is the condition of the stool behind that?
It's upright as well.
Okay,
In the corner.
those are going to get moved by officers later on as they're trying to save this guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Start CPR.
All right, stop publication at 3 minutes and 48 seconds. What is this item of furniture over here in the corner, sir?
It's a sofa.
And what is this item of furniture right here?
It was like a table or like an island ottoman.
An ottoman. And what was this white item right here?
It's a bowl.
It appeared to have food in it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you just don't remember what kind of food?
I mean, I do now after you
Okay, but
after you
at
said
the
it.
time, you didn't know what kind of food it was?
No, sir.
Yeah, I don't want you to tell what you've learned after.
430, start CPR.
Okay, I've stopped publication at 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Was there also a laptop computer on that ottoman next to or very close to the bowl of food?
Yes, sir.
Was that laptop on?
Yes, sir.
Was it emitting light?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've stopped publication at 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Is this a
What the fuck? Hold up. I'm sorry. We gotta pause it. Cause I was asking about the LASIK surgery and stuff, and Lucille had let me know that it was called LASIK surgery. I was just like the eye surgery or whatever. And she said, Queen, our local newscaster had that LASIK surgery and got depressed and committed suicide. Bro, what the fuck? I'm definitely not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that then. But I wonder how, like, did they draw a connection to the surgery. Cause that don't really, I mean, that just has stuff to do with like your corneas or whatever, your eyeballs. That's crazy.
Appear to be what's commonly referred to as a big screen TV.
Yes, sir.
Is the TV on?
Yes, sir.
Is the TV emitting light? Is the TV emitting light?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Come on, Chief. Let me know if you need me to switch. Clear my way.
Exactly. And I don't care how much or whatever dark that it was in the house. Like, obviously this kitchen light wasn't on, but the TV was. So she would have known coming in. Like, bitch, did you have an ironing board like that? Did you have all this stuff right here? No, you didn't. Plus, you could tell the smell of your house, bro. When I walk into somebody else's house, I ain't saying other people's house stank or whatever, but I could smell that their house smells different than my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Stop. And then she lives right under him, so this apartment has to be identical to, you know what I'm saying, the other one or whatever. So wouldn't she know where the light fixtures was if she was scared? Like, if you want to see in the dark, motherfucker, turn the light on. Then you mean to tell me that her living room is set up exactly the same as his, with a couch, no matter the color, right here, and a TV right here? Come on, man, stop. But allegedly, she was so fucked up because she was lacking sleep that she would have missed all those things, right? That's what they trying to make us believe and shit. I don't know what y'all was saying about the ironing board. I might have missed that part, but this shit is crazy. I remember like the bowl of ice cream or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The bowl of whatever, and he asked him, was it food in there? He said, I don't want you to tell me what it was. And I heard like talking after that or whatever, but I missed the ironing board thing.
Now at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. How is Officer Blair positioned with respect to Mr. Jean, who is lying right here?
He's on his knees.
Okay.
On the right side of him.
Okay, so he's to the side of Mr. Jean.
Yes, sir.
When you take over for Officer Blair, does Officer Blair then take a position behind Mr. Jean's head, and you begin the performance of CPR on Mr. John?
Yes, sir.
Are you surprised, or would you be surprised, if this ottoman had been pushed back to allow for the repositioning of the number of officers coming into the ring?
No, sir, I wouldn't be surprised.
Come on, Chief.
What is this item down here on the floor next to Mr. Jean's head?
Earbud. Earbud, yeah.
So it's very possible that Mr. Jean could have been wearing earpods or earbuds in his ear that have fallen out because of his laying on the floor. Is that accurate? Is that possible?
Yes, sir.
Please explain to me why this man would have been wearing earbuds and fucking watching his TV. Why?
We good. Let's put some gloves on.
You recognize this officer? I've stopped publication at 5 minutes and 19 in. Do you recognize who this officer is?
Yes, sir.
What's his name?
That's either Lopez or what is his name? His name.
It doesn't matter for our purposes right here, but that is a Dallas police officer, right?
Yes, sir.
Again, is he going to move this ironing board again to make room for folks who need to help Mr. John?
Yes, sir.
And you can watch this stool in the background.
Keep going. I'm gonna switch. He's reading.
All right, did you you notice what happened to the stool and the positioning of the ironing board?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
It pushed to the far corner.
All right. When you guys come to a scene, and again, you have to provide emergency life-saving measures, is it really of paramount importance to you guys if furniture or items need to be moved so that you can save a man's life? Is that what you're going to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but it's important, and that's your body-worn camera would document that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. By the way, in addition to the visual things that you noticed inside Mr. Jean's apartment, did you sense anything else? Like, for example, did it have any kind of a unique smell that you identified?
Yes, sir.
What did it smell of?
It smelled like marijuana.
Okay. Can you just give the jury an idea? What?
Oh, that could have been it. That could have been it. I feel that. Because sometimes I don't use earbuds or whatever, but when, like, I'm in somebody's chat and I'm watching on, like, my TV or whatever, I will watch on my TV, but comment, obviously, in the, using my phone or whatever. So that may, he could have been watching some YouTube shit or whatever. That's real. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for breaking it down for me. Who said that? I don't know. Somebody. Okay. Spicy said that. That makes sense. That makes sense.
What was the condition? I know you're not a doctor, but you're looking at a man. Do you believe that he's actually physically alive at the moment in time that you come in?
Yes, sir.
What's he doing? Tell me how he's presenting to you.
So you have Officer Blair who checked his pulse and stated that he had a faint pulse.
Okay.
And so off that information, we assume that he was currently still alive.
Okay. Did he ever give you any kind of responses to any of your verbal questions that you asked or anything like that?
No, sir.
Did he ever open his eyes, or did he ever try and communicate with you in any way?
No, sir.
Would you regard his level of consciousness to be unresponsive in that sense?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice any kind of injuries or now let me just leave it at that. On Miss Guyger, when you had the initial encounter with Miss Guyger, did she appear to be injured in any way?
No, sir.
Okay. This particular location, the Southside Flats, where Mr. Jean was located, was that located in Dallas County, Texas?
Yes, sir.
Was this on September the 6th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
Was it apparent that Mr. Jean had been shot with a gun?
Yes, sir.
Is a gun a firearm?
Yes, sir.
Is a firearm a deadly weapon?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and one other thing too, Officer Lee. There was a female paramedic that came in with part of the DFR crew that responded to the scene, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she wears her hair very much like the defendant does, kind of tightly put up into like a bun on the top.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, we do see a female with hair that's put up in a bun who climbs up on top of the gurney and is giving Mr. Jean life-saving CPR efforts. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that the defendant doing that, or is that somebody else?
No, sir. That was DFR.
Okay. Have you ever had an occasion where you had to arrest somebody? Judge, that's all I had as far as publication, if you want to wish to turn on the lights. Have you ever had an occasion where you've had to arrest somebody and take them to police headquarters?
Yes, sir.
And when if there's a number of officers involved in that, you have to sit on them while detectives talk to them. What is it that you guys do there in the hallway or in the headquarters complex while you're waiting for detectives?
Paperwork, bookend sheets, or start on the report, the preliminary of the report.
And if the detectives are going to take a long time to get all your paperwork done, what do you do then?
Sit and wait.
Is there anything that's like manually or physically exerting in doing that?
No, sir.
All right. If you have your phone, can you kind of play on your phone or read texts?
Yes, sir.
Is there a break area, bathroom facilities, kitchen facilities?
Yes, sir.
Can you eat if you want?
Yes, sir.
If your battery is run down, on one of the detectives' desks throughout the building, can you find a charger to charge your radio?
Yes, sir, you
Do you
can.
think that'd be a problem at all?
No, sir.
Is it just basically being there in case something happens?
Yes, sir.
In your years with the Dallas Police Department, have you had to work long hours?
Yes, sir.
Who is the only person that could know your state of mind or physical condition?
Myself.
Object to, withdraw.
If you feel that you are incapable of performing your duties safely for either yourself or for the citizens of Dallas, can you ask to be relieved so that you can take care of yourself?
Yes, sir.
If you're sick, can you call in sick?
Yes, sir.
Have you had occasions ever to respond to like an open door or a burglary in progress?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I understand, Officer Lee, I'll just say as a statement of, I guess, introduction, there's a million possible variants that you may encounter on duty, for even a burglar in a building call, okay? But whether you have not yet made entry, well, let's just start with that. If you have not yet made entry, what do your general orders and your training tell you to do? Should you enter that building alone?
No, sir.
Should you take a position of cover and concealment?
Yes, sir.
Why?
For safety, officer safety, you would need an additional officer for yourself.
Primarily for whose safety?
Myself and the person inside, if possible.
And if you have, say you got there and there's an open door, and you've opened up the door or you've looked inside and then you come to realize there's somebody inside that particular location. And you have two choices for this hypothetical. I want you to presume that you can safely, tactically reposition to a position of cover and concealment. Okay, let's say that you have that option.
Okay.
Or you can just shoot them dead and then figure it out later. What do you do?
Get cover and concealment.
Is that because of the sanctity of human life?
Yes, sir.
If you can safely retreat to a position of cover and concealment and get backup, do you think that would be better or worse for your safety or for the safety of the person inside?
Better.
Have you ever lived in an apartment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know that sometimes, let me ask you this. Who can go into your apartment and you may not even know?
Maintenance.
Maybe there's an emergency or something inside your apartment, right?
Yes, sir.
When you sign a lease or when you go in an apartment, you kind of recognize that that's a possibility, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do emergencies only happen in the daytime?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you this question as well. If there was somebody, whether it be a complete stranger or whether like a citizen, let's say the citizen was actually the burglar, or whether that person was in your own home. If that person would surrender, would you allow that person the opportunity to surrender without killing him?
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the question.
I think this is the prosecutors asking questions, but I might be wrong because I just been listening to the questions and I don't remember when it was kind of like handed over or whatever. I think, okay, obviously the prosecutor started, then there was some cross-examination, and then the prosecutor came back and was talking, going over some of the questions or whatever, trying to better clarify.
Officer Lee,
Yes, sir.
I'm Robert Rogers. We met before, correct?
Yes, sir.
On September 6, 2018, you were at the Lorenzo Hotel,
Yes, sir.
and you got the call, and you and Officer Blair were the first responding officers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Y'all riding a two-man. Do you always ride a two-man on your assignments?
Yes, sir.
Now, Officer Blair has a mounted light on his gun. Do you have a mounted light on your gun?
No, sir.
DPD doesn't issue mounted lights on guns, correct?
Correct.
If you want one, you have to get your own and put it on yourself, correct?
And qualified. Yes, sir.
And qualify with the mounted light on your gun.
Yes, sir.
And so when y'all are responding, it's confusing because the layout of the apartment is confusing. Had you ever been to the Southside Flats before?
Yes, sir.
Was it one or several occasions, or do you recall?
Been there several times.
Do you recall that the hallways smell like marijuana?
Yeah. Anytime I've been there, have it ever smelled
Yes.
like marijuana? Yes, sir. It has.
And it doesn't necessarily mean every tenant is smoking marijuana, but someone in the hallway could be smoking marijuana, and that can lead to the odor going down the hallway, correct?
Yes, sir.
But the way that the apartment was, if he was smoking in her apartment, I mean, if he was smoking in his apartment, it wouldn't have affected her apartment. You see what I'm saying? Bitch, you live all the way on another fucking floor. You live downstairs type of shit. It would have affected the neighbors and shit, people that lived on the floor better than her. It's not like she lived next door, across the hall, or none of that. Why is he asking them that?
When you
Good night, Lily Gal.
finally got to the 4th floor, you had to run up some stairs, scale the wall. Your conditioning's good. Is that correct?
It's okay.
All right. And so you are following Officer Blair. When you're running through you're moving quickly down the hallway. Numbers in apartment complexes are always different. And even
Okay, so, well, the door wasn't ajar that much, though. Allegedly, I mean, it's not like he had it, like, propped halfway open or all the way open or whatever. But that the door just wasn't all the way closed. So that shit was outside in the hallway, so she should have known. Right, and then facts. I feel what you're saying, Spicy. That makes hella sense. Hell yeah.
even though you've been there before, is it fair to say that those numbers are harder to see than normal apartment complexes?
Yes,
Right,
sir.
and then normally when you walk into your motherfucking house, I mean, I have occasionally just walked in and been like, fucking, and I'll, get a portion of ways into the crib before I turn the first light on. But she should have been like, who the fuck is smoking weed in my house? I don't think somebody gonna break in your house just to smoke a blunt, watch TV, and eat some ice cream or whatever. Like, she tripping, bro.
They're in white light on a white background, and they're up and to the left of doors instead of being clearly marked on the door, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so Officer Blair had to stop and look up because he didn't know what the apartment numbers were. And
At all, especially because anybody living in that apartment could just call the landlord and shit, or the police, and then bam, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what the weed smoking laws is in Texas or whatever, but come on, bro, please.
he wasn't sure of where he was going, correct?
Correct.
And y'all were basically, is it fair to say you're looking for a noise or something to get you into the right place?
Yes, sir.
Because you don't know the numbers, you don't know the layout, it's hard to see as you're just running down there. So you're moving as quickly as you can and trying to figure out this confusing situation And the best way to get you in the right place is for someone to call out or notify where they are, correct?
Yes, sir.
When Officer Blair comes around the corner and he draws his weapon, when you're going there, you know that there has been a shooting, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so does that place you on high alert that there's a lot of unknown variables and you don't know all the details of how the shooting occurred? You just know there's a shooting, there's an officer involved somehow, you don't know how the officer is involved. So you're on high alert that someone with a gun could be around any corner, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so that when Officer Blair comes around the corner and he hears something, he's not going to wait to see who it is. He's going to draw his weapon and assess, well, as he's figuring out whether his life is in danger, correct?
Yes, sir.
And down the clearly lit hallway, it's fair to say he saw a fully dressed, in their uniform, Dallas police officer saying, over here, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that clearly does not present a threat, does it?
No, sir.
And so he put his weapon down and continued down the hallway, and it was Amber Guyger who was out there in the hallway, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she directed you to the apartment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then, what was her demeanor like
She
when
was,
you got there?
she was upset.
How would you, was it slightly upset, or how would you describe her overall, well, let me put it this way. You've met Amber Guyger before, correct?
Yes, sir.
Y'all were in the same academy class.
Yes, sir.
And so, was her demeanor a lot different than you've seen her ever?
Yes, sir.
Describe that,
Um,
her demeanor.
very emotional.
And so your focus immediately becomes on Mr. John, who's there's no mystery here. When you're walking in, she's telling you she thought she was in her own apartment. Basically, admitting to you she shot a man in his apartment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she's panicking, she's distraught, and you get her to clear the way so you can address Mr. John, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she does that. She gets out of the way in your direction, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you know she's involved, and for the integrity of the scene, it's best to get the involved officer away from the scene, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
With Officer Blair starts doing CPR, and then you take over, correct?
Yes, sir.
You have gloves on, and you do CPR for a significant amount of time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And where are you, when you're doing CPR, where do you focus on the body?
I'm on his breast chest plate.
So, right there, the sternum,
Yes, sir.
and the wound on Mr. John was an upper left wound, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so when you were doing CPR, you didn't get blood on your hands, did you?
No, sir.
In fact, we see you in the video at about 9:19. Once you're done doing, Officer Hamilton, or I think, takes over and starts doing CPR. You start trying to, you're still in patrol mode. You start trying to identify who this person is. So we see you pull out his driver's license, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you're calling, using your radio to call the identifiers on the driver's license, correct?
Yes, sir.
And these are the same gloves that you just used to do CPR, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so there was no blood on the driver's license and there was no blood on your radio, correct?
Correct.
And if there had been blood, there's a procedure that you go through when you do come into contact, or your clothes come into contact for a blood exposure, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't have to do that, correct?
No, sir.
When with regard to the AirPods, did you notice that when you were there? Or did you later notice it on the body cam?
I noticed it later on the body cam.
Even though your body cam captured it, was it fair to say that you, once you went in that apartment, you had tunnel vision on Mr. John and trying to assist him?
Yes, I was paying more attention to him.
Right. And sometimes you miss things that might be right there, but because you're so focused on one thing, you don't see other things, correct?
That's possible, yes, sir.
Nor did the earbuds matter in reality. I mean, I would think to him. You know what I mean? I don't think they would have mattered. Even if dude wasn't shot and for some reason he had to go there, I don't think they really would have mattered unless the earbuds was stolen type of shit. You know what I mean?
And you've been in intense situations as a police officer, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been in situations where a suspect posed a threat, correct?
Correct.
And in your experience, are you hyper-focused on the suspect, and what about the suspect are you most concerned about?
His hands, his or her hands.
Why is that?
Those are the items that can hold items that can cause you bodily damage.
And when there's, based on the context of the situation and the uncertainty of how the suspect is acting, if you don't see the hands, then there's a real threat, possible deadly threat, correct?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Depending on the context of the situation, if you are confronting a suspect that you perceive as a threat, is it important for you to figure out where the hands are and whether or not they're holding something?
Yes, sir, it is.
So when you're on duty at the time this call comes in, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the call at the Lorenzo Hotel, was it significant? Was there anything intense about it?
No,
You
sir.
recall? Okay, so you go from, in patrol, you can go from call to call to call. Some can be mundane, some can be just disputes, and you never know when the intensity is going to ratchet up in a millisecond, correct?
Yes, sir, you're correct.
So even though the day might be boring, or even though you might not get into a chase or anything, significant confrontations, you're on high alert the whole time, just based on the nature of the job, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you're off duty, when you got this call, you had certain details that you knew going in, what you might be dealing with, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And so you and Officer Blair, have y'all worked together on numerous occasions?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes with new partners, you have to talk to each other and say, okay, when we get there, do this or that. And sometimes with like you and Officer Blair, you don't have to do a lot of talking going in. You both know that each person is going to handle it and respond to whatever they need at that location, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're formulating kind of a plan to deal with possibly an active shooter, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so that puts you in a mindset where you're more aware of potential danger, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you get a burglary call, you know that there's something has initiated a warning to you that there is a potential burglar in a location, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you have a plan formulated before you even get to that address or that business location about how you're going to deal with the situation.
Yes, sir.
And so if you get to that location and there's an open door, you're already prepared for that, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're not going to immediately run in because you know going in, it's a burglary call, correct?
Correct.
And when you go into your own house, if you were confronted with an intruder, with someone that you firmly believed had broken into your house, and it was dark, would you treat it like a burglary call? You don't have time to plan for that, do you?
No, sir.
You have to deal with the person that's inside your home that you believe is broken into it, correct?
Correct.
And if that person presented a deadly threat to you, would you be prepared to use deadly force?
A deadly threat? Yes, sir.
If you felt your life was in danger and you were in your own home confronting a burglar that you believe was threatening you with your life, you would be prepared to use deadly force, correct?
With deadly force? Yes, sir.
In your experience in apartment complexes, did maintenance men ever rummage through your apartment and late at night and not turn on the lights when they're handling something?
No, sir.
I'll pass the witness.
Or anything else?
May he be excused?
No objection from the state.
Just subject to recall.
Officer, please make yourself available should you be recalled to testify.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our morning break. We're going to start back at 10:40.
All right.
All right. And I wanted to, let me see. No, this ain't the one. See, it's not trying to give them an order. Non-crime network. I wanted to at least try to see this one. I want to try to get as caught up as I can. Where am I going? Okay. And fuck it, we here already. It ain't cut us off yet, so shit, might as well try to make good use of our time if the screen will let me move it up and down. All right, so we right here, day 2. It says Amber Guyger, trial day 2 witness, Officer Troy Dugas, body cam footage of Sergeant Brenda Valentine Dash. So we'll probably just watch this and just end for the day or whatever. This shit deep though. This how I be watching like Orange is the New Black and shit like that. I do watch a couple of shows, but I don't watch it off of like TV. I watch it off of like Netflix or whatever. But this how I be doing trials like normally when I just watch by myself or whatever. I be into it. And like I said, they finna start day 4 today. So I wanted to try to get, that way we would only have to make up day 3 and then move into day 4 or whatever. I like her though. I do. She's a nice judge. She seems fair and real.
You all may be seated. Mr. Hermes, please call the next witness.
The state of Texas calls Tory Dugas.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, ma'am.
Thank you. Please make yourself comfortable.
All right, good morning, Officer Dugas. Would you please state your full name for the court's reporter and spell it for me?
Tory Duga, Toreydugas.
And your last name is pronounced Duga?
Duga, yes, sir.
Duga.
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. I'm sorry, I've been calling you Officer Dugas.
It's fine.
You were kind enough not to correct me.
It's
I'll be more careful. Would you introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, tell them what it is that you do for a living, sir?
My name is Tori Duga. I'm a Dallas police officer. I'm currently assigned to the South Central Patrol Unit.
How long have you been a Dallas police officer?
4 years.
Okay, and so you're in a patrol capacity right now?
Yes, sir.
So give the jury an idea, what does a Dallas patrol officer do?
Currently, we go out and answer calls is our primary objective. Anything from car accidents to, the more serious calls. That's our primary objective.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I want to take you right away to September the 6th of 2018, okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's get right to work. On that particular
This is Officer Tori Dugas. Said, who is fugly?
day, were you working in the evening in your patrol capacity?
Yes, sir.
All right, were you with a partner or were you alone?
I was with a partner,
Okay, what was your partner's name?
Roberto Guzman.
Oh, fugly. Fugly means fucking ugly, but in one word. I like that. I like that shit too. I be saying that shit. Oh, Amber, yeah, she's ugly as fuck.
And it's something around 10 o'clock.
I can't wait till she hits the stand, boy.
Out of the ordinary happened.
Yes, sir. An officer assist came out.
Okay, tell the jury what an
But
officer.
she gonna hit the stand when it's her people turn or whatever. So, we gotta clear the state first and then wait for them to rest their portion of the trial. So, and then the defense gets to call their witnesses.
An officer assist is basically an officer's in need for us to come to him or her and lights and sirens immediately.
Okay. And was this, in response to a report to dispatch?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it was dispatch who received the call and then dispatched you on that officer assist?
Yes, sir.
Where were you guys? Like, where were you coming from?
At that time, we were just north of downtown. I believe I was typing a report for a previous call when the assist came out.
Okay. Do you remember who was driving?
My partner was driving that day.
Okay. Once you got to the location, did you then proceed to the apartment that dispatch unidentified?
Yes, so we immediately got to the lofts and entered through the parking garage.
The apartment complex itself, would you describe the perimeter of it? It's hard to get into. It's got a lot of security features, is that right?
Correct. I believe there's only one entrance in and out. It's a rather wide driveway, and then the gate it's secured, it's locked.
Okay. So the gate where the cars would go through, was that a large metal gate that wouldn't let cars through unless you had one of the key fobs that lets you have access?
Correct, yes, sir.
And as far as like the entrances to the complex itself, were those through locked gates as well?
Correct, yes, sir.
So for a stranger who doesn't live there or have access, would it be easy to get in or hard?
It'd be difficult.
May I approach the witness, Sean?
Yes, sir.
Officer Duga,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you his remark for identification, the state's exhibit number 8. This is the body-worn camera video. Were you wearing a body-worn camera on September the 6th?
Yes, sir.
And I've shown you the contents of this before. Does this fairly and accurately depict what your body cam picked up on that call at the Southside Flats?
Yes, sir.
Did you make any additions, deletions, or alterations?
No, sir.
All right, I offer state's exhibit number 8.
It's at it.
Permission to publish?
Yes, sir.
Officer Duda, I'm going to do this with the camera. I'm going to play it uninterrupted
Okay.
once I start so that the jury can see everything without me interrupting them. And then if I have specific questions about certain portions of it, I'll come back and play it for them later. Before we actually start though, there are 2 hallways. Do you recall there being 2 hallways at the Southside Flats?
Yes, sir.
Like a U shape?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So some officers, like Officer Lee, they went down the further hallway, right?
Correct.
You went down the main hallway of the complex, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, may I go ahead and publish state's exhibit number 8 now?
Yes, sir.
Would Your Honor produce the lighting?
Sure.
I'm gonna ask a few questions before I play it again, Judge. All right, officer, I'm gonna show you what's been marked for identification. States Exhibit 25, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Let's just start with, these are gonna be stills taken from your body-worn camera be in the 5 minutes and 23 seconds that it plays. Do you agree that these are fair and accurate depictions, stills of your body-worn camera?
Yes, sir.
And I represent to the court there's been no change in the lighting conditions of these, or stills directly from the body-worn camera. I offer States Exhibit number 25 and then 27 through 30.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Permission to publish?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to show you States Exhibit number 25 first. Officer Dugal, when you got off on the, actually, Judge, oh, that's fine. When you got off the elevator, you guys went to the 4th floor, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you happen to know, either from before or since, whose white Dodge pickup truck that is parked there?
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll just use that as a place marker then. That Dodge pickup truck is going to be in front of this particular post, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this area where my fingers are right now, do those lead to a breezeway that connects the apartment garage to the apartment complex?
I believe so, yes, sir.
And over here, is that where the elevator is?
Correct, yes, sir.
States Exhibit number 27. And I appreciate that it's blurry. It's off of your body-worn camera, and if you're in motion, you understand it does that?
Yes, sir.
Can you see, though, again, using the post as a benchmark now, so you know where the post is, where's that white truck?
It would be behind us.
Right, almost directly behind you,
Correct, yes, sir.
And this officer, I don't know who that is, but is he walking in towards the direction of the complex itself?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is this right here?
I believe that was just the side of the building.
The roof of the building, right?
Yes, sir.
And that States Exhibit number 28. Again, using the post as a benchmark. Is this going to be the elevator?
Yes, sir.
Remember, there's a glare from that. Could you just turn down one? What is this over here?
That's the other side of the building with the roof.
Your Honor, may I publish this to the jury?
These fucking body cam photos are terrible. We're talking about a building that was lit up. You should be able to see pretty well. What's good, Ann? Who is this man? This man that's testifying and being asked questions is Officer Tori Dugas. He was at the scene when this event had happened.
Almost the lighting is not picking
Yes.
up.
Patty.
Would you pass it around? I'm just going to give them a second to take a look at that.
Which exhibit is that?
It's going to be States Exhibit number 28, Your Honor. Does that appear to be-
Right. But and they talking about their body cameras is in 480p. But they charged all this money for people to be able, for taxpayers to pay so that they could get the body cameras, and they got them in 480. So it's dark as hell already off bat, or they're just saying it's 480 because the shit been fucked with or whatever. That shit's crazy.
The light switches.
Yes, sir.
All right, and those light switches, are those directly inside the front door to this apartment?
Yes, sir.
Is this, the light switch is just from a different angle?
Yes.
Okay, showing exactly its proximity to the front door to this particular apartment complex.
Yes, sir.
So if you were standing at the door or you were coming through the door, if you wanted more or less light or any degree in between, that light switch is directly right where your right arm would be if you're coming in.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge. All right, I'm going to publish Your Honor State's Exhibit number 8 again, starting at 3:53 minutes into it. Officer Dugas, this is you coming down. I need you to orient me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yes, sir.
This is you coming down the first main hallway to turn left to go down the second main hallway. Am I correct as far as location?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to pause it at 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Is it clear to you there's no large decorative object right here at this location?
Correct.
And there's a good perspective at 4 minutes in of the length of the two hallways. They're a fairly good distance. You have a lot of opportunity if you want to pick up on things. If you are paying attention, there's a lot to perceive.
Object to relevance and speculation.
I'm asking him for his experience, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. They're both hallways are pretty long.
Thank you, Officer Dugas. I'll pass the witness.
I have a moment, Your Honor, I'm going to just... May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Officer Dugas, someone punched a button to go up to the 4th floor, and when the elevator stopped, you knew you were on
Wait a minute. So doing a little bit of research or whatever, it appears that, let me see, in August 31st, 2015, the Dallas Police Department bought 860 cameras, right? And they decided to roll them out. Now, how much money did they spend on said cameras? $1.5 million, and allegedly it was in private donations. This report then goes on to say that in comparison to Los Angeles, plans to equip 7,000 officers with body cameras in the next couple of years. And this was in 2015, so obviously they already be doing that or whatever. That shit's crazy, because, we've been talking about the quality of these body cameras for a minute, and this shit is just nuts. They bought 860 cameras and spent $1.5 million allegedly, but I just told you that you can go on eBay and get a body camera in at least $7,000 720p, which is way better than 480 at least. Like, I get it. They don't want to, get the 1080 or whatever, but why they just can't, why did they get this low ass level and shit? And then this is allegedly supposed to, help with transparency. That's what the fucking thing says. It says LAPD and Dallas police get body cameras, new era of transparency. How the fuck is it transparent if we're looking at some raggedy ass 480p type of shit? Like, I could put this video in 480p. Watch.
On the fourth floor, correct?
Yes, sir.
You didn't question it, did you?
No, sir.
Were you looking for
You
landmarks?
see how it's
to
more
what-
fuzzy. Now, this is just, in a well-lit area, obviously, right? But you see how the change is. Now it
Before
is
you
in
were on, or you
480p.
just
You
knew
see it
you were
looks
on the fourth
dull.
floor?
But again, like, where'd they get them fucking cameras at? China and shit? Because ain't no motherfucking way in hell. And these same body cameras that they got in the picture, you could get on eBay for like $70.
I just followed the other officers and believed we were on the fourth floor.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been pre-admitted as States Exhibits 70 and 86. And do you know if these are different floors or not?
No, sir.
Do they look exactly the same?
Now, if you would have bought 860 of those cameras from eBay for $70, it would have only costed $60,200 to have bought those cameras, which are in 720 or 720p. Like that, where did the money go? Where did the money go? And even in 2015, bro, come on, man. Still, they still could have. You could get a motherfucking body cam that's in 1080p for under $100. In reality, maybe like 110 or something. This shit crazy. Where'd that money go?
Other than
And why only 860 cameras were they bought? Now, in comparison to Los Angeles, said that they finna get, they finna put 7,000 officers is gonna have cameras. Why was it only 680 type of shit? Like, what the fuck is going on?
scooter, yes,
I mean,
sir.
860. I'm getting all confused. Goddammit. The shit don't make sense though. And I'm the type, I like to break that shit down because I be doing that same thing in reality, like in real life. That shit don't make sense at all. And I'm the type that will bargain shop like a motherfucker. I'll do price comparisons. Like, before I make a purchase, I'll compare, do my research on the product and everything, and compare other sites or whatever so I can get the best bang for my buck. Yeah, and then selective recordings and shit. Come on, bro. And like I said earlier, CPS and the police should be obligated right when they clock in. The motherfucking camera, as soon as you clip it to something, should start recording. You know what I mean? By default. Like, this shit's crazy. How in the fuck do you buy 860 cameras and you spend $105 million when in reality it only costed $60,200? And that's still a great penny, but still, like, this shit is weird, bro.
Right. So you weren't relying on landmarks or anything other than you punched 4 and you knew you were on the 4th floor, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
And so, did you ever go to the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, or 1st floor? Or 3rd or 2nd floors?
No, sir.
So you don't know whether the 3rd floor matches exactly the same as the 4th.
And then the private donations, were those private donors then, claiming that shit in taxes or whatever? We got a money laundering situation going on here. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about this shit. Like, fuck is going on, bro? Where was the rest of that money used for? Like, for what? Shipping and handling, allegedly, and shit? I could even find you a body camera at $720 and free shipping. How about that? Like, they need a motherfucker like me. Like, shit, you need to make some purchases? Because, boy, I'm going to find that deal.
No, sir. I wouldn't know.
did you even notice the numbers? Do you recall?
As far as like the numbers on the door, or the
Were there were no numbers on the door, were there?
not that I recall. I don't remember looking at numbers
Okay.
at all.
So you were going to wherever the activity was, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
The prosecutor asked you whether the apartment complex was hard to get in for a stranger who...
Yeah, but if they talking about transparency, right when they push the word transparency, they should have been able to buy all them body cameras. You know what I'm saying? They should have been able to buy all that shit. And then they giving in some states officers the choice to wear body cameras or not. It should be fucking mandatory. Period, point blank. Just like it should be mandatory if they pull you over, shit, that you record their ass. Shit, for your own safety, just like they got it. You know what I mean?
Wanted, who didn't live there, it would be difficult to get in, and you said yes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Apartment complexes, people who live in homes, we all try to make it as difficult as possible for strangers that we don't want in our house to get there, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
But criminals...
They bought 860 cameras, so probably about 860 cops got them in Dallas or whatever.
Somehow,
I didn't know that Dallas had 860 cops, though. I mean, I would imagine that they have a lot, but I don't know.
Many times, that's what you respond to often, have found ways to get into difficult places where they're not.
That's good, Spicy. They should not have the option. And again, right when they, I don't know who this is. Hello? Hello? Okay, people calling to hang up. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, they shouldn't have the option to do that at all. They shouldn't, right when they get on shift, right when they clock in type of shit, whatever computer they sign in from, it should automatically start they shit. Period. Not just 30 seconds before you click the button and no audio is picked up and all that. No, it should constantly, like, even when they're yeah, we had a caller but nobody said anything. But I don't know, man.
Wanted, correct?
Yes, sir.
The prosecutor showed you there were lights to the right of the when you entered the doorway of 1478, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a mounted light on your gun?
No, sir.
Some officers do, some don't, but Dallas Police Department does not issue you a mounted light on your handgun, correct?
Correct.
And so if you are in a dark area and you're confronted with an immediate threat to your life, is your response to draw your handgun?
Yes, sir.
If you believe that there's a deadly threat that's
Yes,
threatening
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
And while it would be optimal to have as much light as possible, is your focus protecting your own life at that point?
Yes, sir.
And would it be irresponsible, or would it be proper weapon handling techniques to manipulate objects while holding a loaded handgun? In other words, would you want to do other things with your gun, like touch objects or turn on lights, or would you want to focus on what it's meant to do, is to hold it and protect yourself?
Hold it and protect yourself. Yes, sir.
And how do you, when you load your weapon and you carry it, how do you load it? Like, how many bullets are in your magazine?
50.
Right, because if you, he said 50.
15.
Oh, 15. I was about to say, damn, what the fuck you busting? But let me see. R. Fox said, why haven't they questioned the officer's drug and alcohol use? Facts. Because even in a situation like if you drive trucks or you have an occupational type of event happen, right, where they're going to have to investigate into it. I don't care what job you have. Normally, they will make you do a drug test, and if you're supposed to be on certain meds or whatever, they will allow you to submit or whatever that proof, right? But like, did they even test this bitch like at all? Like, what is going on? And she definitely could have been damn near drinking or whatever on the job and shit. I done seen a few cops arrested for drinking on the job, and there's hella videos where even sergeants and corporals and all that shit get pulled over and they drunk as hell. I mean, like drunk. Like, how in the fuck did you get out of the parking lot? Good night, JT. So, you know what I mean? They human. They should be able to have a drug test too, especially since they could just pull you over and just assume that you were drinking or whatever, and you got to do all this shit to prove that you weren't or whatever. You know what I mean? They should have to, these same laws that they make us do, they should have to do when they fuck up.
Then do you put
and not investigating themselves. There should be, you know what I mean, some type of other mandatory facet that looks into that shit that's not connected in any way, shape, or form to some other shit.
one in the chamber?
And there's one in the chamber, yes, sir.
15 plus 1, and is that common? Is that how you are trained and how every Dallas police officer is expected to carry their weapon?
Yes, sir.
And the prosecutor showed you those still shots. Did you notice those things in live time, or was it only after it was pointed out to you? Like the roof line and those things?
Well, I noticed them. Well, I was on the perimeter after everything while the investigators were working.
Like, you mean which body cameras? The ones that they have? Because I got this article where, you know, they had took a picture of the body cameras that they have. Let me see. But these look like it says Los Angeles on the badge. But or the body cameras that I had seen on I was gonna say PayPal, eBay. Which ones?
So I noticed it at that point because I was standing on
They
that.
about like this big or whatever. They just sit like right there. They're about that big. They're not really huge, but in reality, you know, like a GoPro, they're a little bit bigger than like a GoPro or whatever. I'll get a picture of a body camera, and then, you know, it might not be Dallas's. I'll try to find a picture of Dallas's body cameras, but they're pretty much all the same, kind of like a black box.
That breezeway.
But when you were going to...
No, I wasn't paying attention to that, no, sir.
Nothing further.
Officer Guyger, when it comes to a mounted light on a firearm, whether you choose to have one or not, that's DPD's discretion that they give to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
But all of you officers carry flashlights, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you want or feel the need to use a flashlight, it's on your utility belt. You can pull it out, use it if you choose to use it.
Correct, yes, sir.
And you're also taught, are you not, how to use a flashlight with a shooting position if you have to both use a handgun and a flashlight.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that deals with that. The other question that I just wanted to elaborate on that Mr. Rogers asked you was whether or not, if you had your gun out, if you wanted to do something else with your gun hand. But most people have two hands, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the defendant to have two hands?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you are walking into an apartment, or even if you're outside and you want to peek into an apartment, and you know exactly where the lights are because you live in an identical apartment, and if you want more light, would you use your left?
So I forgot who it was that asked about the body cams. The link in the link in the chat room where it says Queen Supreme, my other channel. Click that link and you could see the article that I was just looking at, and you could see like kind of what the body cams look like. But obviously there's you know, a variety of makers or whatever, so they could vary like far as you know, the brand or whatever, but basically the size is just like a black box. Pretty much it. That kind of depicts what it looks like, the picture in the article, if you guys want to check that out.
Left hand for your safety and also to reveal the person inside.
Yes, sir.
Would you, here's a better question. Would you, if it's to your advantage, would you use light sources available to you, whether it be a light switch or a flashlight or a mounted light on a firearm?
Yes, sir.
And all of those require an optimal where you have 2 free hands, correct?
Yes, sir.
So to use a flashlight with a gun, you're using 2 hands, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we can go through 100 scenarios with you. I'm not going to belabor the point, but the scenarios that he just talked to you about require 2 free hands, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Nothing further.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Hugo.
Thank you, Steve.
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
Subject to recall.
All right, please make yourself available should the attorneys need to recall.
Yes, ma'am. State calls Officer Barnett.
Officer Barnett, come on down. I'm just playing. All right, let's see what he talking about, y'all.
Sergeant Valentine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I don't know why they called her Barnett. Her name is Sergeant Brenda Valentine. I don't know. Maybe she got married or something.
So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Make yourself comfortable.
All right, well, good morning, Sergeant. How are you today?
Good morning, good.
We've met each other on a couple of occasions. It's good to see you again.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Would you go ahead and let the court reporter know what your full name is and go ahead and spell it for her?
Brianna, B-R-E-A-N-N-A, Valentine, V-A-L-E-N-T-I-N-E.
And would you let the ladies and gentlemen of the jury know how you're employed, please?
I'm a sergeant with the Dallas Police Department.
And how long have you been a Dallas with, or a sergeant with DPD?
I've been a sergeant for 1 year.
Okay. And tell the jury, what does a sergeant do?
We're responsible for our troops and when they're out at scenes, what they're doing, if decisions need to be made out there that they haven't made yet or that we feel are necessary, we'll go in and we'll make those decisions and help process whatever scenes that we've got.
Okay. So y'all are like the first level of command above the patrol officers out on the field, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And let's just get right down to September the 6th, okay? You were a sergeant at that time?
Correct.
All right. And what part of Dallas were you assigned to?
I was assigned to the Central Business District.
Okay, is that going to be where the Southside Flats is located?
No, it's not.
All right. Where the Southside Flats apartment complex, what channel in Dallas is that?
They technically fall on one, which would be Central proper.
Okay. And is that location, the Southside Flats, in Dallas County, state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
You were in a marked patrol car that particular evening, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And where were you parked when this call was dispatched?
At the 7-Eleven next door.
Literally how far away is the 7-Eleven from the Southside Flats?
It shares a fence.
Okay, so essentially they touch each other.
Correct.
Okay. And once that call came out, was that an officer assist or had it not yet been upgraded to an officer assist?
It had not been upgraded yet.
All right. Did you go ahead and respond immediately to the Southside Flats in response to that call?
Yes, I did.
Was that response captured on your in-car camera system?
Yes.
Have I shown you your in-car camera system since that day?
Yes.
All right, and this is going to be State's Exhibit number 10. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of your squad car as it existed on September the 6th, 2018?
Yes.
Did you make any kind of additions, alterations, or deletions to it?
No.
Offer State's 10.
That's Valentine's.
In-car video system?
Yeah, just a second, Judge.
Sure. Permission to publish?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember what he had said, but he said that he would be in and out, or he was listening. He probably fell asleep by now. But yeah, salute. We got to keep checking on him. Or just like any other royal family, if they going through some rough shit, we got to be there for each other.
All right, Sarge, are we looking pretty much outside your front windshield?
Yes,
Okay. And at the bottom where my cursor is, does this indicate the time, 22:01:17?
yes,
All right, so that's going to be 10:01:17.
correct.
That's the 7-Eleven that you're pulling away from?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to pause that at 22:01:48. Is that the Southside Flats apartment complex right here?
Yes, sir.
So this person just so happened to be literally right around the corner or some shit. That look like a gas station or something, because I think I seen them propane things outside or whatever. And dude still lost his life though. Like, damn, what the fuck was really going on? She was probably in there trying to fuck with his breathing or some shit before they got in there. And again, the paramedics dude that was giving him chest compressions or whatever, he didn't get no blood on his hands. But when they walked in there, allegedly she had some blood on her hands. It was almost like she had just deliberately went to the body and touched it where it was bleeding, and then was like, oh my god, like she was trying to help him. Like, girl, bye.
Your in-car camera system allows you to switch from front view to also a camera mounted on the inside, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's going to be allowing me to switch between camera 1, that's camera 1, and the other one is camera 2. Is that accurate?
Yes,
So you've arrived, your response time was relatively quick, is that right?
that's correct.
Okay. And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you did after you arrived?
When I arrived, I got out of the car. I saw two other officers in front of me. I followed them. We went through the complex trying to get inside. Finally, I believe it was the third gate that we tried, someone opened it for us, and we're able to get in and go upstairs and get to the scene of the location.
Okay. So were you one of the first officers that actually made it to apartment 1478?
Yeah, I believe I was third or fourth through the door.
Okay, and then tell me, who came after you?
I couldn't say for sure. I know when I went back outside, another sergeant had shown up, and I asked him to manage the crime scene while I went downstairs.
Okay,
But I don't recall who exactly came in right after me.
okay. And was the defendant inside the apartment or near the apartment when you went in?
Yes, inside.
She was inside.
Yes.
What did she do and what did you do as y'all crossed paths?
When I walked inside, she was inside. I could see the complainant with two officers performing CPR. I asked them, had anyone done a protective sweep yet of the apartment just to clear for any other threats? At that point, I did not know what was going on. They said they had not, so I swept the apartment. There was no one else in the apartment. When I came back into the front room, asked them if they needed anything or what I could do. They were asking about first aid. So I went to the bathroom, didn't see a first aid kit, grabbed some hand towels, brought them back out. They told me they were good. I went back outside with the defendant, and then I took her immediately downstairs once the other sergeant showed up.
Okay. Now approach the witness again, Judge.
Yes.
All right, one of the officers who arrived shortly after you, are you familiar with Officer Wynn?
Not personally.
Okay. I'm going to show you some photographs. There's some stills taken off of that body-worn camera. States 11, 12, 13, and 14. Do you see yourself in those photographs as well?
I do.
Okay. And do you see Amber Guyger in the hallway with, that's Officer Dong Nam, is that right? Do you know him?
Yes, I do know Nam.
And I better spell that, D-O-N-G-N-A-M. So when these stills were taken, this was while you had stepped out of 1478, and Amber Guyger, the defendant, was in the hallway at that time, correct?
Correct.
All right, I offer State's Exhibits 11, 12, 13, and 14. Did these fairly and accurately depict the condition in the hall at that moment in time,
Yes.
as you recall it?
Yes.
Permission to publish?
Yes, sir.
All right, Sergeant, I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 11. And is that going to be you peeking outside of apartment 1478?
Yes, sir.
All right, and who is this person right here? Is that Amber Guyger?
I believe it is.
Okay, you can't tell.
It's a little fuzzy.
State's Exhibit number 12. Yeah. Can you tell now because of the paradigm?
Yeah.
That's Amber Guyger?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. United States Exhibit number 14. What is Amber Guyger doing at that particular moment of time?
It appears she's on the phone.
So let me just see if I can appreciate the relative timing of things. You just testified that there are two officers on the inside who are actively trying to save Mr. Jean's life, right?
Correct.
Now, and to her credit, she's been asked to step outside, so she's not in the way. But her condition at the time, she's in the hallway on her phone.
Correct.
All right, so can you help us, then tell us, give us an idea also what happened after that?
When the way the call came out, it came out as a shooting. En route to the call, I heard the words over the radio, "Shouldn't this be an assist?" which would mean an officer's in trouble. When I put those two together and I got up there, I never heard the comments on the call sheet. I never read the call sheet. So I did not know what we had fully once I got up there. I recognized it's an officer-involved shooting, and I know that the involved officer needs to be removed immediately from the scene. So once the second sergeant showed up that could work the scene at the apartment, I took the involved officer downstairs to take away from the scene.
Okay, and by involved officer, do you mean the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Do you see her in court right now?
Yes, sir.
Would you point to her and tell me what she's wearing?
She's wearing a white sweater.
All right, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant in open court. Do you recognize that person to be Amber Guyger?
Yes, sir.
When you got to the doorway of 1478, were her keys dangling in that door at the time?
There were a set of keys in the doorway at that time.
All right, did that indicate to you that somebody had put keys in the door?
Yes.
All right, and are you aware of what that particular lock function, how it performs when you stick a key in it? Do you know?
To be honest, no.
Good.
I've never dealt with that.
I appreciate you being honest. We'll get that from some other witness then. But the keys were dangling in the door as if somebody put them in the door.
That's correct.
Was the door fully closed or was it slightly ajar when you got there?
It was ajar.
Okay, did there appear to be any signs whatsoever of forced entry?
No, sir.
It appeared the door had been kicked in.
No, sir.
Did the door frame appear to be shattered or in distress in some way?
No, sir.
And then I think you've depicted what happened as far as your immediate response. You identified that Amber Guyger was involved in this, and then what was it? You took her downstairs, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was it that you were attempting to do at that point?
Just to seclude her and get her away from everything until the detective showed up and could work the investigation.
Okay. Is that important in criminal investigations? Well, let me ask you this. Had you already made an association that Amber Guyger had shot this individual?
Yes.
Okay. You don't know what the circumstances are, do you?
No.
It could be a cold-blooded homicide, right?
Correct.
It could be that she walked in and found the body. You don't know what the circumstances are, but you've got a nearly dead body.
Correct.
Okay. And if you shoot somebody or kill them, that is a criminal offense in the state of Texas, isn't that right?
I'm going to object to leading, and
I'll rephrase, Your Honor.
And whatever,
I'll leave
let's
it.
sustain, rephrase.
Do you know what the definition of murder is in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Would intentionally or knowingly shooting somebody constitute an offense?
I'm going to object, Judge, that she's not, the question is limited. She's not qualified as an expert, and there needs to be more facts ascertained. It's not relevant based on what's been asked so far.
I'll rephrase the question anyway, Judge.
Thank you.
If you come up on the scene, and you've got a dead person on the ground, and you know who shot him, and you don't know what the circumstances are, is that person being taken into custody?
I wouldn't say always custody until you determine that that is the person that committed the offense.
Okay, and once you've determined that person has cause for the person to be dead, is that person going to be detained and taken into custody for investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said that you wanted to take Miss Guyger to a place where she would be secluded.
Correct.
What's the benefit of doing that?
It keeps other people from hearing conversations and from being able to access anybody else.
Could it be beneficial so that the person who might have committed a crime doesn't fabricate a story?
Judge, object to leading.
No, that's good. I was going to say that's not legal.
I disagree.
Okay.
Sustain.
Is it important to you to maintain seclusion so that stories can't be changed?
Correct.
So where did you put Miss Guyger?
Into my squad car.
And is that also captured on State's Exhibit number 10, the in-car video recording?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to fast forward to that part. It's going to be, I'm going to move forward, Your Honor, on this State's Exhibit to 22. I'm going to begin publication again of the State's Exhibit at 22:15:39. I'm going to stop publication at 22:16:22. All of those, first of all, who's in the middle of that half circle?
Could you back it up just a hair? It's the defendant.
She's hugging somebody now?
Yes.
So I thought she was wearing her whole cop outfit though.
Okay, so
Why is her
on the
legs out?
22
Why is her legs out? Or when the fuck did she get time to change her clothes?
16:27. As far as your efforts to seclude her, Would you agree that prior to you doing that, she has not been secluded?
That's correct.
Okay, do you even know who those people are?
At the time, I did not, and when I went to get my squad car, I did not see them, but when I pulled my squad car up, I did.
Okay. Do you know who those people are now?
I do now.
Who are they?
They are officers.
Okay. Are they friends of hers?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Are any of those members, do you know, with the Dallas Police Association or the Dallas Union?
That I don't know.
Judge, may we approach?
Pause.
You're on pause in publication at 2260 and 45.
Looks like a sidebar. All right, sidebar over. Thanks to editing.
Let the record reflect the jury has been removed from the courtroom. And Mr. Rogers, I'm going to let you note your objections to, I forgot what exhibit number this is, the in-car video of Sergeant Valentine.
Yes, ma'am. It's going to be State's Exhibit number 10.
Okay.
My objection is if the prosecutor elicits testimony about the defendant contacting the Dallas Police Association and the Dallas Police Association representative showing up. The reason that the Dallas Police Association is contacted is because there's lawyers that contract with the Dallas Police Association to respond to officer-involved shootings that Mr. Hermes is aware of, as he's seen in hundreds of these, or tens of these. And so it's a comment on my client's Sixth Amendment, Fifth Amendment rights to have an attorney and efforts to get an attorney there.
Normal people don't, you know what I'm saying, just get an attorney at the scene of a motherfucking crime. This is what I'm saying. These people get all these motherfucking extra rights, and who pays for these attorneys to come in and help? I wonder.
And so any comments regarding that, eliciting that, are improper comments on her right to an attorney. And also relevance, Judge. I don't know, it doesn't make any fact more or less likely. So it's not relevant for 401, and it's under 403, its prejudicial effect is substantially outweighed by any probative value.
Mr. Hermes, what remains on this video, and what is your purpose for showing the rest of it?
Okay, so Your Honor, this is the relevance and purpose for publication. Standard practice, as has been testified, is that a person is confined so that their stories can't be changed or fabricated. That they are placed away from other individuals. That was not the practice here.
Tina, you just do the name, you do the @ sign, and then you just do the name, no space or nothing. You know what I mean? So you do @, then like if I was doing Tina, I would do @ and then Tina space Harmon, and then type the message and then send it. But you're not gonna see the red line though, the red highlight. Everybody else would see it.
Secondly, in this particular case, unlike the normal operating procedure of the Dallas Police Department for anybody else, usually detectives do not tell persons who are suspected of being involved in offenses not to talk. Amber Guyger was repeatedly told not to talk. Ms. Guyger was made aware as she was being put inside the police car, that the in-car system was rolling. Again, that is not common for anybody else. Ms. Guyger was told, just don't say anything. Then, Your Honor, after that, shortly after that, the president of the Dallas Police Association shows up. He walks up to the car that Ms. Guyger has been put in by the sergeant, because when she saw the condition, she put the officer in the car so that the officer would be separated for any possible influence. I'm not suggesting they did influence, but there's a reason for that practice. Well, the president of the Dallas Police Association walks right up to the car, opens the door, and takes Ms. Guyger out of the car, and then walks her away from it. As a matter of fact, he goes up to the car several times, and they're off screen. I can't hear what they're saying. It doesn't really matter what they're saying. I think that that is also a big deviation in what would be allowed in any other case, but for the fact that Ms. Guyger was a police officer. Before the Dallas Police Association president did that, he told this sergeant to turn off the in-car video, which this wasn't. Now, let me just say this. Mr. Rogers is right. There is a situation that the district attorney's office has long acknowledged and respected of a companion officer situation. When an officer has been in an officer-involved shooting, there will be an opportunity for that officer to be given.
No, I think they've been dismissed. I think that's what the little sidebar was or whatever when it kind of like edited to a new portion. I think they've been put in the jury room, but I don't know for sure.
Respect.
They're not supposed to hear this type of shit. If they're like trying to argue the situation and the circumstances on what would be presented in front of the jury, then yeah, they would be put in the jury room.
And privacy when she wants to speak with her companion officer or with her attorney. In those situations, we absolutely do shut off the in-car video system. And even if it were inadvertently running, which has happened, we honor that. And we don't watch it and we disclose it. This wasn't that situation. She was alone in that car for several minutes, and I believe that it was inappropriate for anyone to tell this sergeant to turn off that in-car system. That's not what's typically done. Again, in many, many cases that we've all prosecuted, it has been the tactic of the police officer to put an individual in a car and leave that video running so that evidence that either hurts or helps them can be adduced and used in that regard. So all of these things were not followed on that night, and I think that that shows that this investigation from the very beginning treated Amber Guyger differently because she was a police officer. And I think that that has a bearing on the partiality or impartiality of those investigating her.
Yes, Mr. Wright.
Judge, just none of that was in my client's control, and so she didn't ask for any of that. She didn't control any of that. The purpose is to inflame the jury and about aspects that are completely out of my client's control regarding how things are handled situations.
These allegations that you make, Mr. Hermas, are they caught on this State's Exhibit 10?
Well, yes, ma'am, to some extent. For example, Ms. Guyger obviously has not been sequestered in this video, and you will, when it comes to her exposure to outside influence, you will see that not only on this video, but also on a video that the apartment complex has provided to us, all of which is returned over to the defense. As far as the DPA president arriving at the scene, yes, ma'am, you will see him on the other video. You'll see the door open on State's Exhibit number 10, and he puts his head in and he has Amber Guyger come out. On the other video on State's Exhibit 15, you can see him indicating to Sergeant Valentine to turn off the in-car, and Sergeant Valentine has been interviewed by me before, and I have every expectation that her testimony today is that she was told to turn off the in-car. So everything that I've said, I believe, is going to be corroborated by the video.
No, just we object to State's Exhibit 15, so he's talking about things you see on State's Exhibit 15 in addition to 10.
So State's Exhibit 15, Your Honor, is going to be, you can't really see it, but Right, well, you kind of can. Right up on the roof of this carport. I don't have anything I can point to. Anyway, there's a video camera. Almost right above the defendant's head, a little bit behind her. That video camera recorded this entire interaction from an elevated view.
Is that State's Exhibit 15?
15, Your Honor, and I've also shown that to Ms. Valentine. It's to Sergeant Valentine, and Sergeant Valentine has indicated to me that that is a fair and accurate depiction of the scene, as well as State's Exhibit number 10.
One question, because I'm going to take a break and watch the rest of this video, and I would also like to see State's Exhibit 15, possibly. Well, maybe not in as much as it hasn't been offered or admitted. The alleged president of the Dallas Police Association, does he outrank Sergeant Valentine?
No, ma'am, he does not. They're co-equal.
Is he a sergeant as well?
He is. Is that right, Ms. Valentine?
No, he does outrank me
Okay.
because he's been a sergeant longer than I have.
So, for purposes of the record, although you are both sergeants in seniority, he does outrank you?
He is senior to me.
Thank you for clearing that up.
So were you required to follow his direction?
It wasn't as a direct order. The statement wasn't given as a direct order.
There was a statement made to you before Ms. Guyger was removed from your vehicle?
I don't recall if it was before she was removed.
Is it on the video?
You can't hear the statement. You see him indicating to her to cut off the in-car, then you see Ms. Valentine with some words. I don't know what the words were. And then you see Sergeant Valentine reach into the car, and at that point the in-car recording ceases.
Excuse me. How many more minutes are on State's Exhibit 10?
It looks like it's going to be another 5 minutes and 41 seconds on State's Exhibit number 10.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 10 has already been admitted into evidence. Okay, you all may sit down. Please resume playing State's Exhibit number 10.
I will, Your Honor, and what I'd like to do, though, is in a moment, Ms. Guyger, the defendant, is going to walk to the passenger side of the car. At that point, I was going to flip to camera's angle 2.
That's fine.
You want to keep it rolling? Yeah, keep it rolling. Whatever you do. Okay. All right.
is they doing? At first I thought she was in the front seat sleeping and shit. The girl wake up.
Your Honor, if it would be helpful, I can fast forward to 2220.
Nah, they're only giving him shock probation because he's a police and he was the cops and they didn't want him to suffer and shit.
When I believe the individual I'm discussing.
Like if that had happened to a civilian or whatever and they got it, I would understand that. But come on, a cop knows very well how prison and jail is. The fuck out of here. He knew better than to be beating his wife in that case. That's fucked up.
Before it shows up.
I just let it play.
I turned down the audio for a little bit. I hate police sirens. That shit is annoying as fuck. Especially when you get a group of sirens going off at the same time and they're not even like on the same, you know what I'm saying, shit or whatever. They're not on the same rhythm. Oh my God. It's annoying.
Your Honor, I would like to just bring one thing to your attention too. Sergeant Valentine, did you hear you call out to Mike at the very end? Do you know who that individual was that just reached in and...
No, not offhand, not by the video.
Okay, I want you to listen
I heard someone call out.
Mike, I'm going to play it again. in-car video stopped by some mechanical action that you made?
Yes,
Did you push a button stopping it?
yes.
Your Honor, at this time, for purposes at least of this particular consideration of the court, I'd like to offer for record purposes State's Exhibit number 15, and I can publish that to the court if it wishes.
Do you have any objections, Mr. Rogers?
He's offering it just for purposes of this hearing.
Yes.
No.
All right, so on...
Boy, that wasn't the sloppiest motherfucking run I've ever seen in my life. That motherfucker looked like he was gonna fall on its face.
Valentine, this is you arriving, correct? That was you running through the carport?
Yes,
This was you going to apartment 1478.
yes.
All right, I'm going to fast forward to 2218. All right, is this going
This
to be
motherfucking
after
camera
the fact?
footage is rad.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to...
Can you back it up further?
Yeah, I'll do it to where she gets in the car.
Shit is horrible. Look at that shit.
That's just go from when she backs up and drives in,
Okay.
so I don't have to assume what happened.
This Amber Guyger that just hugged that man down there. She over here. Come on, put the camera over that way. Silence. Right, they all look dysfunctional as fuck. I want to see that officer run by like that again. That motherfucker look like a toddler running and shit. You know when a baby just figure out how to walk and shit, and then it starts to master like running and shit. It's kind of wobbly and unstable and shit. Bro, that's what that officer, whoever that was that ran past like that, looked like. Imagine all your friends being cops, dude. That would suck. Cops are real uptight and shit. So in the other video when she was standing there, it looked like she had some motherfucking shorts on and shit. So how now she get pants on? This Amber right here, ain't it? Right here. I'm lost, bro. She had on, in the other video, she had on like some, what looked like some white some white shorts, and then maybe like a shirt that said, you know, cop on it or whatever, but it didn't look like a fucking uniform shirt. Barney Fife, real talk. Amber don't look like she capable of doing shit. As far as a female officer, very not intimidating. It should, I'm just seeing Ann's comment Does shock probation include firing the dummies? In reality, anybody could get shock probation, but if you get sent to prison, obviously, normally you go to prison for a felony. So, that would forfeit your right to be a cop or whatever. Like, you wouldn't be able to pay a background check or pass a background check or whatever, especially because you ain't had it expunged. You know what I mean? Like, he would have to wait a certain amount of time. Like, they are overturning shit, and you can get a job even with a fucked up background. You just gotta know how to work that shit. But in the event of that, no, he wouldn't just go to prison and then be on probation or whatever and then just go back to being a cop. That shouldn't be. At least it shouldn't be. Of course they do, Rachel, because they the ones that, design it or whatever. But funny thing is, they don't know certain laws. And if you know certain laws, they'll back the fuck up or have to call a sergeant and shit. But you got to do it the right way. Don't be all like confrontational, like, bitch, just the motherfucking law or whatever. You just got to drop them gems on their ass. I didn't had police call supervisors and start looking shit up in the books and all type of shit, like, and walked away scot-free. You know what I mean? You just got to know that law. I don't know why they cut the audio. It's not like they needed it anyway. We can't even fucking hear shit in this video. I guess they getting the stretcher ready that was going upstairs anyway. What's up with these people just standing around and shit? Damn, they just got us looking at this video forever. Like, what is we supposed to be looking at? I'm waiting to see Amber Guyger put in the back of the police car. I seen what looked like her get in over here on the passenger side or whatever of this cop car. Bitch, that ain't good enough. You just killed the man, bro. They should have slapped cuffs on her and everything. Did her just like anybody else in the street. That's why the system is so corrupt, because you got certain motherfuckers that can get away with shit and certain motherfuckers that can't. And it's not a secret that the ones that can get away with shit are getting away with it. So that's going to cause a problem. And then it's just morally not right. Shit, this woman know damn well she went in there and killed that man. And in reality, I believe it was intentional. Look, he lived above her, and he probably was, loud and shit. He probably had friends over, all type of shit. Had his music playing or whatever, his TV and shit, living his life or whatever. And then this uptight ass cop, she ain't having it or whatever. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Cops being like cops is like gang members, bro. This is low-key the first gang in America. While they talking about all these other gangs. And no, I'm not, caping for gang members or nothing. But I'm just saying, this is a gang. Like, this some shit gangs would do. Like, oh, you find out that a motherfucker riding with you did some fucked up shit or whatever. It ain't against the gang. It makes the gang maybe look bad. But here's what we're going to do. Looking at. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what they talking about. They put the audio back on, so they still showing us this video for a while. For a little bit. What in the fuck did she have in her hand? Oh, I thought that was a gun. Like, bitch, who you finna shoot? Look at all these cops just standing around looking retarded as fuck. Like, you got motherfuckers parked over here. They just standing there talking to each other. It's a whole gang of them right here doing nothing.
The individual we discussed earlier coming up.
These niggas walking and talking and opening doors and being friends with motherfuckers and shit. Oh, she is in the back. Oh, no, she's not in the back. They took her right out the front. Like, what's up, girl? So you did what now? Okay, we got your back. We've been had lawyers come and help you out and all that shit. Bro, there's not many interrogations where you're gonna find where a motherfucker is being, you know, their attorney is right there in interrogation. You can be like, nah, request a lawyer and shit, and they gonna bring you back to your cell because legally they cannot question you after you request a lawyer. You would just get to see your lawyer after you go to arraignment court when you're given either a public defender or you buy a lawyer or whatever. But no, not as a cop. No, they have on deck ass lawyers that pull up on the scene no matter what time it is. On the scene though, not in interrogation.
20 seconds.
Look, and they consoling her like she, like, oh my God, the big bad black man came and fucked me up. Get your dumb ass out of here. Pulled her out the car. She ain't even in fucking cuffs. She able and free to move around and all that shit. I can't see if they took her gun, but 9 times out of 10, they did at some point, at least for a moment. Probably gave her another one since she didn't lose her job right away or nothing. But they had to run tests on the one that they physically had or whatever, that she had used in this shit. And, you know, document it, put it into evidence and shit. That's fucked up. Right, getting her story together. Yeah, allegedly they had found some weed in his apartment, allegedly, and they threw that in the story like he was just a crackhead or on PCP just fucking people up and shit. He consoling her and shit. Are you okay? Poor baby. Let me give you you want a burp? Baby got a burp looking ass. This bitch. You could tell Amber is one of them snitching ass bitches in high school and shit. Oh, you didn't do your homework? I'm telling. Oh, you didn't share that with me? I'm gonna tell. Look, giving her hugs and shit. Bitch, you hugging a murderer, bro. Fuck out of here. She just gets in the front seat like she's a fucking champ and shit. She's a hero. She didn't kill the man for nothing. They need to lose their job. Real talk. You over here co-signing this bitch. You can't be trusted.
I can tell you at this point here, there's going to be another 3 minutes and 45 seconds without anything of consequence, and then Mr. Mott is going to go. He's going to go back to the car at 22, 25, 40. He's going to remain in the car for another several minutes. You want me to just let this play out?
What the fuck is she describing where she needs to like?
Back to the car. Is the door open and there's conversation, or is it just standing by the car?
I don't remember.
Well, just fast forward to when he returns to the car.
Damn, fuckers leaking up under this motherfucker. Somebody throwing up.
Can you back it up so we can see how it is that door came to be open?
And is that the back door? And where is this water coming from? Is she throwing up? Is the car leaking oil? What happened? Somebody just come here and pee right here? What happened? She probably do. And she a cop, so she could probably get into all type of shit. Especially with these apartment buildings and shit. They be making the little master keys and shit. That's a good observation or good idea. And I was trying to discredit the victim. Right. Like this man did anything to deserve this woman, even if he was smoking weed in there, which don't matter to me at all. But that definitely, I see what Spicy was saying, that she should have known. Like, bitch, do you smoke weed in your apartment? Okay, then that can't be your apartment. But even if he was smoking weed in there, y'all know I don't give a fuck. But why would that be an issue? Like, and I think I heard when this shit first happened that they was trying to look into his background and shit. Like, what the fuck does that matter? Whether he had felonies or not, or got in trouble and this, that, and the fifth, like, who cares? He was murdered. That's the point. But they always try to deflect away from the real shit. And that's sad as hell. Dr. Alo. I don't know who that is, and Ali. Oh, okay. You good? I was like, who is Alo, girl? Hook me up. Let me know what is going on. I heard that, Rachel. I heard that.
And just so I'm clear, this entire time since the president arrived, the in-car video has been turned off.
Yes, ma'am, when he made that indication to Sergeant Valentine, and Sergeant Valentine reached into her car, that corresponds with the other in-car video, which shows the recording system was shut off at that moment.
Did they say that when the president shows
That
up?
was much earlier, right? Your Honor's aware of that?
Yes.
Right.
Is he perchance also a licensed attorney?
I do not believe he's a licensed attorney.
Oh, probably the president of the Texas, whatever the fuck they was talking about. Not the Rangers, but the
By that time, he contacted
the organization that they was talking about or whatever. I forgot what it was called.
an attorney on behalf of Miss Guyger. They know the attorney is on his way, and so she's exercised her right to have a lawyer by that time. She talked to the attorney by 10:10, so she knew the attorney was on the way.
Look, if they talking about she utilized her rights to an attorney or whatever, then that bitch should be in fucking handcuffs. Cause fuck you need an attorney for. If these your boys, you giving them hugs and shit. Bitch, if you didn't do shit, then you should have no problem stating the alleged facts. But that bitch knew that it was holes in her story. Somebody said that they poured out the liquor that was in her coffee mug or something like that. It probably was. Real talk, because it is right here. Like, it just looked like it just ran down. This was not there before.
And any other, that's what was going on. They're waiting for a lawyer to get there.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, my response to that would be whether or not Ms. Guyger or anyone on her behalf contacted an attorney, there's no expectation of privacy in a police vehicle. No expectation of privacy was conferred upon her until such time as that individual instructed or advised or suggested that the in-car video recording system be cut off.
And she asked whether she should keep it on, and Sergeant Valentine ordered her to keep it on. So she's following orders, but which she's being basically told you don't have a right to turn it off, basically, even though you're going to communicate, you're possibly communicate with your lawyer.
There was no lawyer on the scene. Was
This
there not?
time, he's on his way.
And she's aware of her right to remain silent. Is she not?
Yes.
I'll put that bitch in the back in cuffs.
I can tell you nothing else of consequence happens, Judge.
There are no other officers that visit.
I mean, the door remains open. It's been a long time since I've watched it beyond this point. I believe at some point that they moved the squad car, and then as soon as Ms. Guyger's, as soon as the defendant's companion officer arrives, if I'm not mistaken, she's placed in another car, at which point there is an agreement that we do not go into that territory. So that would have been respected, and there would be no reason for us to inquire. But I can't tell you exactly when that happens. You're going to see later on the detectives arrive. I can represent to the court that the detectives were unaware that what you just saw happen had happened. I certainly am not suggesting to the court that this is sanctioned policy of the Dallas Police Department. I don't know what their policy is in this regard. However, I can tell you that from the testimony already elicited, I believe that this conduct departs from how anybody other than police officers are treated, and I think that that goes to the investigation. Mostly since right out of the gate, Mr. Rogers said that this investigation was somehow corrupted because of our rush to judgment. You know? District Attorney's Office was not on the scene for this.
Their rush to judgment, y'all didn't really do shit. The fuck? Judgment where? The fact that you're coddling this fucking murderer? This bitch straight up murdered somebody.
We were later, but we weren't on the scene for this.
Is that the president again?
I don't know, Judge. I can't tell from that angle. You're talking about the gentleman standing by the passenger door?
Yes, sir.
I can't tell, Judge.
Okay. Okay. We can pause it if there's nothing else of consequence.
Yeah, but I'm gonna need them to treat these officers that is in some fucked up shit just the same way that they treat people. Like in a situation that unfolds, you know, where somebody gets shot and allegedly it was an accident, right? I'm gonna need for them to have these knit gloves when situations arise that really were a mistake, or you know what I mean, a situation. I don't know, bro. I'm just saying, I don't give a fuck. Period. Like, these motherfuckers is trash. That's why I do not fuck with the police.
Sergeant Valentine, did you believe you were departing from protocol when you turned off the in-car video?
No, I did not. and I can explain that if you would like.
Yes, please.
In our body-worn camera policies, when our officers speak to a supervisor, they will make notification on body-worn camera that they're speaking to a supervisor about the case, and that's not recorded. This being an incident where there's a supervisor going to talk to someone, and I made notification to him that the in-car camera's rolling. He said, that's not supposed to happen. Like, that's not supposed to be going right now. And so that's why I turned it off. And to me, I thought it was a mistake on my part, is what I thought.
So you believe you were in error to have began the in-car video at all?
I did.
Now, Mr. Hermes, if I'm correct, I'm trying to recall the line of questioning that you had from Ms. Valentine, Sergeant Valentine, before Mr. Rogers interrupted.
I believe, Judge, I had asked her, this was before Sergeant Valentine got out of her car. Well, actually, it was after, where she was bringing the defendant back towards her car. And I asked her if she knew who those individuals were. And she indicated that she didn't know at the time. And I asked her whether or not any of those individuals were friends or members of DPA. And that's, I think, when somewhere around there is when Mr. Rogers objected.
And I assume it is your desire, since we've already admitted State's Exhibit 10, to play it in its entirety.
Yes.
But I'm wondering and concerned about the line of questioning that you would have, at least in reference to this last portion that we've been watching and debating.
Concerning the fact that another sergeant told her to turn off the in-car video system?
Yes.
My line of questioning with Sergeant Valentine would be, well, especially in light of what you two just discussed, while an officer is allowed to have certain private conversations off of body cam with another officer, this particular situation was not Amber Guyger on duty discussing a call.
Why would two officers be able to talk to each other legally or whatever with, you know what I mean? So basically they could just turn off or whatever with the audio or the video just because they need to fucking talk. Ain't that like avoiding the point? This is about transparency, not just whenever the fuck you feel like it. Like, oh, cover up or turn the sound off of your shit. No.
Private matter with another officer investigating a case. In this particular occasion, the defendant is a suspect or a person in...
Shit. I think a lot of people would be cocky if they could just get away with murder and all type of other fuckery. You know what I mean? You got cops out here stealing drugs from gang members and shit and all type of shit. They doing all type of shit. Like, so the gang member's wrong, but your ass over here stealing the drugs. Like, that makes you right? You know what I mean? It's just hypocrisy.
Involved in what is going to become a homicide, which they all realize the severity of the injury. So this is not two officers responding to a scene where one officer wants to go up to the other and say, hey, I think this guy is lying, or I think this person here's got more to say, and they want that to be private. That is perfectly understandable as far as the body-worn camera program and the policies and procedures employed with that. It's my understanding, and I would ask Sergeant Valentine this, on situations where a person is in custody, detained or in custody, and they are placed inside a squad car, it is regular, it's not unusual for that in-car to continue running for the purposes of the collection of anything of evidentiary value. The individual in the car sits there and remains quiet, it's neutral. If the person sits in the car and starts talking out loud about, you know, the event, that is not a privileged communication. If the person says something that's exculpatory and helps them, then that becomes information that the defense is absolutely entitled to use. So I think we're talking about two different situations here.
In your objection, Mr. Rogers, I believe you said that that line of questioning was going to comment on her right to counsel.
Well, it's improper impeachment on her because she didn't have any, impeaching her character, using its improper character evidence and its improper impeachment against her when she has no control over any of this. All she did was she asked if she could turn it off. She was told by a supervisor, no, you can't. And so that was the only thing in Amber Guyger's control. All
I
of this,
believe we stopped this and had our sidebar discussion because you intimated that the rest of the video would impinge on her right to counsel and be a commentary concerning her request for counsel.
if
I haven't seen a request for counsel. I haven't seen anything about counsel
the
in this
silent,
video.
on this video, 15,
No, what I've watched here in 10
on 10, no, just to
and
play,
15.
just to play the video on 10, there's nothing objectionable, but to add commentary that's something untoward or that she is has a role in something untoward or something that they can't even show that there was any improper statements made to her, then it's impugning her character for something she doesn't control. And State's Exhibit 15 is not relevant. It doesn't even, it barely shows her getting in and out of the squad car, but that has nothing to do with what happened in apartment 1478. It doesn't have anything to do that makes a matter more or less relevant in an issue in this case. And from that point on, Mike Modest told her, and she's talked to her lawyer. She knows her lawyer is on his way. So all this, my defense to this is that she's waiting for a lawyer, and Mike Modest preserving her Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights in his role as the House Police Association president.
I don't think he has the right to preserve her rights, but I'm concerned about what the line of questioning will be to Sergeant Valentine concerning the video, whatever was left of State's Exhibit 10. And we haven't laid the foundation or offered State's Exhibit 15, though I have viewed it.
I've offered it for record, Judge, and there's been no objection.
For purposes of this hearing, well, for this hearing.
Right.
Or discussion, he didn't have any objection.
Right.
Rightfully so.
And I can give a proffer if the court would like as to what my questioning would be.
That I would very much like to hear.
All right, Ms. Valentine, I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? When you first pull up, pull your squad car in, the defendant is surrounded by a bunch of individuals and you don't know what their relationship or their role to the case is, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so she has not been sequestered or detained or removed from outside influence. Is that correct?
I thought she was when I left her where she was to walk back to my squad car. And clearly I didn't see them walk up. I thought I had left her alone. There was only a handful of us at the scene, and where my car was a long way away from where the offense location was. I reasonably thought she was alone. As I went to my car, I never saw them walk up.
And I'm not suggesting that was an error on your part.
Yeah, when I pulled up is when I saw them and realized that they were officers.
So the opportunity to go to her occurred when you had passed. But nevertheless, external individuals went up to, and there was clearly, you can tell the implication from the hand movements and the hugs and everything, that there's conversation ongoing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And for that period of time, all the way from the time that you got to your car until you pulled in, and then you got out of your car and you went up to her and then you escorted her to the vehicle and put her in the vehicle, she had this opportunity for the external, whatever that external conversation might have been.
Correct.
Okay, so that would be number one, Judge. Number two, so she has, at that particular moment in time, been put into a squad car and isolated away, as you had designed, from any external influence, correct?
Correct.
Your in-car video system was running because it had been running the entire time.
Correct.
All right. So it would have continued to have run, but for the fact that you turned it off.
Correct.
And the reason why you turned it off is because another sergeant in some way communicated to you to turn off that in-car video.
Correct.
But for that, would you have allowed the in-car video system to continue to run?
I probably would have.
Okay. And is that uncommon? Again, I want you to go outside the world of officer-involved situations. I want you to pretend for the moment that the person who's sitting in your car is not a Dallas police officer. Had that been, let's say that in North Dallas, some guy went into somebody's home for reasons that you hadn't figured out yet and shot him to death. And that person, let's make him a plumber. If that plumber was inside your car, all right, because that person had been detained, would you have turned off the in-car video system?
No, sir.
Would you have allowed that to run for evidentiary reasons?
Yes, sir.
And if that person decided to say, oh my God, I wish that I hadn't have shot that guy 30 times, I only need to shoot him 3 times, would you expect me as a prosecutor to use that as evidence to seek justice against a person who just basically made an admission?
Yes.
Okay. On the other hand, if that person said something that exonerated them and proved their innocence, would you expect the defense to use that?
Yes.
And you've been with the Dallas Police Department for a long time, right?
Correct.
You guys use this tactic as it's a good tactic because it derives evidence. Sometimes you even put 2 people in a car and you close the door, right?
I haven't done that, but I've heard of it.
Okay, and you let them talk, right?
Correct.
And tell me, what is the basis for doing that?
To hear the conversation that's occurred.
Right. It's not necessarily that you want one particular statement made or the other, but you obviously want to know what happened, right? That's in your DNA. You're a police officer.
Correct.
Okay, so is that the reason why the in-car video system would have been allowed to have been running had you not been told to turn it off?
He just said it's in your DNA, you're a cop. Like she was born a motherfucking cop. No. She's a cop. That's her occupation. Like, these people need to stop. It's not in her DNA.
No. I just wouldn't have turned it off because, in all honesty, that's about the last thing I do in those cars. I had just been back in a squad car for 6 weeks. So sometimes I forget.
Okay. And if you had the plumber who was just involved in a homicide in the car, would you allow people to be coming up and pulling them out of the car?
No, unless it was detectives.
Okay. Police detectives who are involved in the case, who are investigating the case?
Correct. Or other officers trying to get information.
With some official capacity with the case?
Correct.
All right, have you ever seen anybody from any of the police organizations come out to, I guess, tell you to turn off an in-car or tell you to do something to do with evidence for a plumber or a carpenter or anything like that?
No.
Do you have reason to believe that you were told to turn off the in-car video because Amber Guyger was a police officer and her association wanted that turned off?
No, I believed it was because everyone thought she was on duty.
Okay, what does that mean?
At that time, I didn't know that she was off duty.
Okay.
And in my limited time, as I've never worked an officer-involved shooting, I always thought that those conversations were private because of the rep and the attorney.
Fuck all that, bitch. Fuck all that. What do you mean? You've never worked a case like this before, so you weren't trained, bitch? And again, that's the problem. They just unleash these motherfuckers. Like, you could probably become a cop quicker than you could get your cosmetology license. In reality, why they acting like it's so fucking hard? It's really not, though. If you ever been a security guard in the military, done certain shit, you could definitely get on. She's talking about I never been in that situation, bitch. It's called training. And no, we shouldn't be just turning off cameras or whatever. If you're not turning them off for real criminals, then don't turn them off for cops when a cop can become a real criminal at any given time. Again, it's not like this situation is the first, like, of its kind or whatever. They can miss me with this bullshit.
Present.
I understand.
And that in-car video system, even if you want to confer some sort of, I mean, that's not recognized in law, that a rep conversation, but even if you wanted to preserve the representative's communication, you shut off the in-car video system for all purposes, even when the rep wasn't there.
I understand.
Okay. Judge, that would be the line of questioning I would engage in.
Is that you being under the impression that this was an on-duty officer involved shooting is why you earlier stated that you thought it was a mistake to begin the in-car video anyway?
That's correct.
So had you known with certainty that the defendant was off duty, would you have continued to run the video?
I believe I would have left it running and then consulted with the Sergeant Mata, to say, hey.
And would you have allowed the various people to come to the car to visit with the defendant?
No, I was running back and forth with our chain of command that was at the scene, trying to figure out what needed to be done, and that was my mistake to ever walk away from that car, and my major pointed that out to me.
I'm just curious, when you secluded the defendant to go and retrieve your car, would you have done that with a civilian?
Left them standing alone? No, I would have walked them to my car.
And for the record, the bitch would have put him in the back seat in handcuffs as well. So, hello.
So, Mr. Rogers, your objections to the remaining portions of Part 10 are what?
My objection is to the line of questioning regarding an improper influence. I use using those words when there's no evidence of an improper influence exerted. He's had a year to interview all these people to see if there was an improper influence exerted. So that questioning is inflammatory and not relevant. And any questioning about Mike Mata and her turning off the video is not relevant because that's out of my client's control. And so that's improper impeachment. And my only defense going forward through that is to put forth that she had requested a lawyer, and a lawyer was on the way, and it was her 5th and 6th
Did
Amendment
she
right.
make that request to you, Sergeant Valentine?
I believe walking downstairs, she told me she had contacted her lawyer already.
When you were coming from the 4th floor to the open area there?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sorry, you said that was your defense. What was your objection? You just have these two inflammatory, irrelevant, and proper impeachment.
Right, with regard to the questioning regarding outside influences and Mike Mata telling Sergeant Valentine to turn off the video, and then the hypotheticals regarding the plumber in custody, those aren't relevant to this case because they were treating this case not to her, not that she called for, but they're treating this case like an officer-involved shooting, and so Ms. Guyger had no control over any of that, so it's improper impeachment.
And what are your objections to State's Exhibit 15?
15 is that it's not relevant, Judge. It shows very limited portions of Ms. Guyger. The only purpose of State's Exhibit 15 is to inflame the jury with regard to issues that are outside of her control. And so there's nothing in State's Exhibit 15 that is relevant. If there is any relevance, sitting in the squad car, we can't really even see her except she gets out a few times. it's more inflammatory and the prejudicial value substantially outweighs the probative value.
Did you have a proffer for States 15, Mr. Hermes?
Your Honor, States 15, the legal predicate for it would be that it's a fair and accurate depiction of the scene instead of from inside the car, though, but from above. So you can identify the individuals, and you can, unfortunately, from the positioning of the cameras in car, you can't see who's approaching the car, and you can't see the individual who's in the car, what they do outside the car. So the relevance of State's Exhibit number 15 is going to show that not only was the defendant approached, she was removed from the car, and then she was taken to a different location. I can't tell you what location, but I can tell you it's beyond the camera, where there was some interaction, and then she was returned. So it adds an additional element in which to see the same event, but from a different perspective.
Okay, let us all have our lunch, and I will let you know what questioning I will allow concerning the last portions of State's Exhibit 10, and also whether or not State's 15 will be admitted when we return from lunch. The jury has had a 45-minute head start on us.
All right, y'all. Y'all already know what it is. We gonna end for the day or whatever. But, well, for right now. But I'll be back sometime later on, probably about like 2 or 3-ish maybe. I gotta do some paperwork. I gotta do some paperwork before I can even go to sleep. Like, my boss had hit me up talking about some shit that happened or whatever, so I gotta do that. And then fax that to him, and then I can get some sleep for a little bit, and then be back to you guys or whatever once I clear everything that I gotta do. So, much love. Thank you. Salute. Much love for riding with me or whatever, but we gonna continue obviously later on, and we'll catch up eventually, because we be going in. So see y'all later for continuance. Thank you, Candy. You were right about the judge. I hope that she's fair in the sentencing as well. Salute to everybody in the room. Much love. I hope you guys enjoy your day. I will see you a couple hours, shortly or whatever. Less than 12, I guarantee that. So much love, y'all. See you later. Bye-bye.